Oh, well, sorry, Brendan, that I thought we can participate in either one. So that's why yesterday didn't work out for me. That's why
That's
I'm actually
okay.
joining this one. Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to make sure, is your program accredited?
Yes, we just had our accreditation on site last week.
Okay, okay, great. So let me go ahead and begin. So good to see everybody. Thank you for your time today in coming to the program review orientation. So let's go ahead and begin. I will share my screen. Okay, so let's go ahead and begin. By way of introduction, I think everybody knows me, but I'll go ahead. I'm Bernadette Muscat. I'm Dean of Undergraduate Studies. Dean Loam, please.
Good morning, everybody. Elizabeth Loam, lucky enough to be the interim dean of the Division of Graduate Studies.
And Celeste, please.
Good morning, everybody. You will have gotten emails from me to the point of nausea, probably. Program Review Coordinator for Fresno State.
All right, sounds good. So good to see everybody here. So let's go ahead and begin with the process. I'll be talking about both accredited and non-accredited programs because there's a different process for them based upon which one you fall into. So we do have the program review website. It has a ton of information for you with regard to timelines and templates and forms and all of those kinds of things. So please, if you have any questions or anything along those lines, look there. We are here for you as well, so no problem with reaching out to us with any questions that you may have. But you will likely find a lot of the information on the program review website. To give an overview of what it looks like, here it is. It has information about accredited programs, non-accredited programs, and then we have a separate process for any CGE or interdisciplinary studies program that we have. Information about the orientation as well as the recording will be made available to you there so you can look at those, any slides or things along those lines. And then you can go into the academic program review schedule by college and look at your various programs that are in there and find what schedule you're on. For non-accredited programs, these follow a 5-year cycle that's internal to our campus. All program reviews are required to have a 5-year program review cycle. And program review is really important because it's one of the many things that WASC looks at when they come here. So very happy to say that we did not get any negative comments about our program review or program review comment process when they were here a few weeks ago. So that was a really nice win for us in that regard. But we keep it to the schedule as closely as we can, and so that follows a 5-year cycle. For programs that are accredited, they will follow the accreditation cycle of the accrediting body, which tends to also be pretty close to a 5-year, but we do have some, I think, as few as 3 years. And then we have some that are like 15 or maybe even 20 years. So some of them are quite long, but you'll follow that cycle if you are an accredited program. And then for your programs who are here that are non-accredited, you'll follow this program review process that begins now in April, and I'll go through and explain all of these to you. And then it goes through next year, and then the goal is that we finish the whole process by the end of next year for that. At this point right now, where we are is obviously in October. So at this point, we identify who this self-study coordinator is. That should be all of you who are present here. And then you attend an orientation, which we're in the process of doing. You'll have from November to March to actually prepare your self-study. The self-study is something that within the department is done. You'll follow a very specific template of questions that we will be asking you, and we want information from you on your program. Some programs elect to do this with just the coordinator, collecting all of the information. Other programs will do this as a team. That's completely up to you and your department how you want to do that. All we care about is that you have the self-study report out of your department by March so that it can go to the college dean, which is the next level. The college dean will provide comment on that. And then that final study should be ready in April and ready for the review team. And there's a separate review team for that, and I'll talk to you about at that point. from now until that April timeframe, if you know who you would like to be on the self-study program review team, please let us know so that we can complete the process to bring the team in. And I'll move to the next slide for that. So after you have the dean's response, then everything's pretty much on a 2-week cycle. So 2-week cycle, then the dean will respond, then the department will respond. Then you'll have a site review team. They will provide their assessment of what happens, or no, then you'll go back to the report will be reviewed, sent to your site review team, and then your site review team will come the following year. So at this point, your site review team won't be here until the next fall semester. And at this point, let me talk to you a little bit about what the site review team is. The site review team is comprised of 3 individuals. One person is internal to your college, but is outside of your department. And the idea with that is that you have somebody who knows about the college, knows about the challenges and opportunities in the college, to be able to express that to the site review team when they come for the visit. Then you have someone outside of the college, but internal to the university. And again, that's to be able to provide a perspective outside of the college, but also to be able to provide some differences as to how things are done in different colleges. And then the third person is somebody who is external to the university, but is internal to your field of study. So in my case, with my home department is criminology, I would have somebody who is an expert in criminology come as part of the site review team. So again, using me as an example, my site review team for criminology would be somebody, let's say, in political science, who's outside of the department, but within social sciences. Then it could be somebody from, let's say, social work, outside of the college, related to outside of the college, but internal to the university. And the third one might be a professor from the criminology program at Sac State. So that gives you an idea of how that makeup looks like. For your site review team, it can be anybody who's within the field, but you want to try and make sure that they're within the CSU system. We've had some individuals who've been from private universities or from the UCs, and some of the suggestions and expectations and things that they have are just things that aren't really possible for us here. So it helps to be able to have somebody who's within the CSU to be able to know some of the parameters that we're under, the guidelines, the restrictions, policies, procedures, those kinds of things. So that will be your site review team. They will come to campus then in that next fall semester. They'll be here for a full day. And if you have multiple programs, so for example, if you have an undergraduate and a graduate program that are both under review at the same time, then sometimes we have a day and a half to be able to accommodate both of those. They'll also be given 2 weeks to provide their response. That response goes to me or to Dean Loham first, depending on whether it's grad or undergrad or both. Then we'll send that off to all of you within your departments. Then it goes to your dean. Everybody provides responses. And then it goes off to either the undergraduate or graduate university committee. They also have a few weeks to provide a response. And then all of that goes back to your departments. And then the cycle closes with a planning and implementation meeting, which pretty much says how you're going to respond to the whole process over the next 5 years. That goes to the provost, and then we end the cycle at that point. Are there any questions right now before I go to the next phase? Okay, seeing none, I'll continue. The elements of the self-study will be that there be a separate self-study for each degree. So if, for example, you've got a self-study or you've got a stateside and a self-support, each one of those will have a separate program review, all done at the same time, but each will have a separate report. If you've got an undergraduate and a graduate program, each will have a separate report. If you've got different degrees within your major, so again, using my home department, if I had criminology and forensic and behavioral sciences, both at the undergrad level, those would get 2 separate reports. So wanted to make sure that you understand that. And then each one will follow the self-study template, and then each one will use their respective OIE data set. In terms of the self-study template, there's obviously going to be some things that are going to be comparable across all of the programs that you might be reviewing at the same time. Please just copy and paste the information as relevant across the templates. Please don't ask the team to, see page 3 of report 2, don't do that. Just copy and paste it so that they're distinct reports across them. And then you'll get a data set from OIE. OIE will provide these for you based upon the data needs that we have within the program review parameters. They will not do any additional analysis for you. So if you're really interested in, gee, where are our students with retention at year 7 or something along those lines? They're not going to do that. They're not going to create any additional data points for you. They're not going to provide any additional analysis. Whatever's in that data set is what you'll get, and that will be it. And part of it is a matter of time and resources on their part, but the other important part of it is that when we look at program review, all of the data sets are comparable across all programs, which is really important for us. And then let me see. Okay, so the next slide looks at our program review template, and it provides, a very detailed, like, these are the things that we want. If there's something that is written, but it's not completely relevant for your program, there's typically a place for other. So go ahead and put that information in there. If it's something that's just not relevant for your program at all, then just let us know that it's not relevant. Brevity is the key with this. I mean, it's a balance of breadth and depth, but don't feel any need to write 20 pages of information all answering one question. That should not be the case, because if you look through the entire template, we're asking in a variety of different areas, and so answering it in that area should suffice. And at the end of the entire template, we'll get a really good sense of the program and who you are and your resources and those kinds of things. The OIE data set, there will be a separate one for graduate and undergraduate if that's relevant for your particular program. If it's not, then of course you'll only have what's relevant in that area. Your review team, I mentioned about who they are in these areas. The agenda will always start with, just the overall welcome to the campus. They'll get a sense of the program review process. They'll get their own deadlines, all of those kinds of things. This is typically 30 minutes. It usually starts about 8:30 in the morning. That'll be led by either Dean Loam or myself. And then at that meeting will usually be the entire site review team, as well as a representative from the department. Throughout the day, they may have tours of facilities or library, meeting with the department chair, certainly meeting with faculty members. They'll meet with the dean. They'll also usually review course syllabi and work, and then they'll have an opportunity to work on their final report before the end of the day, which is again with the deans, with either Dean Loam or myself, the site review team, and then the program coordinator and or some faculty from the department. Deans differ on whether or not they want anyone from the department to be at the dean meeting. So please make sure that you confer with your deans ahead of time to see how they would like to proceed with that. All other meetings are open completely to everybody within the department, with the exception of the student and alumni meeting. That is only for the site review team. Nobody from the department should be present at that meeting. Okay. Review team, I've already mentioned that. There's no FERPing faculty who are allowed. If the person's on sabbatical, they'll need to seek approval from their home campus to serve as an external reviewer here. And we can't have any conflict of interest. So if it's somebody who used to work here, but now they work at another university, they're not allowed to serve on that review team. They could have worked here, but not in that department, but they wouldn't be relevant then to your discipline. So just want to make sure that you know that. This gives you an idea of the review panel nomination form. So you'll share this with us. You'll let us know the name of the department and the individuals. We ask that you give a few names because it's possible that somebody may not be able to attend or participate in this. And then we'll work on bringing them to campus. Celeste will work through all of the logistics and those kinds of things associated with this. You want to give her the nomination form as soon as possible so that she can make sure that all of the behind the scenes paperwork gets done well in advance of their visit. Okay, any questions before I move on to, and I don't think we have any accredited programs. Yes, Vina, please.
Hi, good morning.
Good
Two
morning.
questions quickly.
Yes.
You said the different degree programs should have a different reviews or different templates, whatever you said. The two things we have to do, or three, whatever degree programs we have.
Yes, so
But
if
how
you have,
about options? We have a 1 degree program with 3 options.
yeah, they could all go under one because it's just one degree with different options. It's when they're 2 separate degrees.
Okay,
So like again, with my home department, forensic behavioral sciences and criminology, those are 2 separate degrees. So
correct.
they need to be different. You also want to bring in somebody, if you have that kind of circumstance, who could review, your external reviewer who could review both.
Cool.
We don't have the resources and we don't have the ability to bring in multiple external reviewers. So likewise, if you have an undergraduate and a graduate program, you don't want to bring in somebody who only has grad experience. I don't really work in a undergrad, so I don't really know the particulars that might be challenging in that area. And likewise in the reverse. So you want somebody to be generalist enough that if you've got nuances in your options, they could cover those. If you've got undergrad and grad, they could cover those. We can't bring in multiple individuals for that.
Thank you. And can we share your slides with the whole department?
Yes, we will. It'll be,
Okay.
yes. And they'll be on the website also.
Thank you very much.
Yes. Other questions? Okay, and I don't think we had any accredited programs. So do we? Elizabeth, you're on mute,
Yes.
but it looks like you wanted to say, oh,
Yes.
yes, we do. We do. Okay. So let me proceed. Thank you. Okay, so we'll go ahead with the abbreviated program review. For abbreviated program review, you need to follow, these are for externally accredited programs. You need to do whatever you need for your accrediting body. So whatever template they have, whatever forms, whatever questions, whatever they do, you need to follow that. You do not need to follow the internal review process at all. Once you complete the review, then you'll need to have evidence of the national accreditation. This typically goes to the president, so you'll need to make sure that we get a copy of that, a copy of the site visit report, a memo as to, APM and your national accreditation documents, an up-to-date SOAP. We need to make sure that we have that. And then there'll be an analysis of the 5-year trends. If it's an undergraduate program, I'll go ahead and do all of this and then send a memo to the department, the deans, and the provost. And then that will be the end of it. The provost will write an end of cycle memo and that process will end. If you're a graduate program, all of this information will then go to the graduate committee and they will do a review. That review then will take typically a few weeks. They'll get back to all of you. Then that will go to the provost and then there will be an end of cycle for those programs. In advance of your sending your papers to the accrediting agency, we need to go through a very thorough review. And so that's part of what we call the Accreditation Review Center, which includes obviously all members of your department looking through the documents, making sure they're accurate, making sure they're following the guidelines and the requirements of the accrediting body. It also needs to go to your college. So it needs to go your dean, associate dean, any college assessment coordinators, all of those. So there should be a very, very tight, strict review of all documents in advance of them then going to the next level of review. And that's either going to Dean Loam if it's a graduate program, going to myself if it's an undergraduate program, and whether it's graduate or undergraduate, it needs to go to OIE for review. Dr. Still will review it for all the data aspects of it to make sure that the data is accurate, up to date, the analysis is done properly, the end analysis is correct and accurate. All of those kinds of things will be checked by him, and then it goes to the university assessment coordinator, Dr. Fraley, to also make sure that everything is done. All of this will occur before you send your final documents to your accrediting body, because we want to make sure that everything is done accordingly so that you have the best product putting forward to the accrediting body so that you get accreditation. This takes a very long time, this internal process. So please plan accordingly that you get it to each of the various levels with enough time. Any documents that are received for review need to be in a format that can be edited. There we go. Can be edited so that we can provide review and comment at each of the levels. When it gets to the Dean of Undergraduate Studies, Dean of Grad, that upper level, the Office OIE and Assessment Coordinator, please plan for about 2 weeks for us to review those and get them back to you. They can go to us simultaneously, that's fine. We don't need to see them sequentially, but we do need a few weeks. It's not something that you can hand these in to us and, within 24 hours, we'll get them back to you. You need to give us plenty of time to do that. The timeline for your accrediting review should also be about 2 years before your accrediting body comes to campus. You should be meeting at least 2 times a semester. Then as it gets closer, 3 times, then once a month. And then, if you're needing to meet any more than that along the way, certainly go ahead and do that. Your college should also be following a pretty strict schedule. Once we get the final documents, then it needs to be signed off before sending it to the accrediting body by the department accreditation coordinator, the department chair, your college dean, associate dean, and college assessment coordinator. And then, as I said, at the university level, undergrad, deans of either undergrad or grad, OIE, and assessment coordinator. You should not be sending in your documents to your accrediting body until all of these people have signed off on us. Again, we just want to make sure that it's seen by multiple levels of individuals to make sure that you'll pass your accreditation. Yes, okay. And then accreditation workflow, you can see how this is, that obviously the work will start at the department level, go on to the college, and then go on to the university level program. Okay, are there any questions on accredited programs?
Bernadette, I do have
Yes.
one question.
Of course.
For those abbreviated review process there for those documentation, do you have a specific deadline for those? Because we're not sure when exactly our renewal is going to be received in terms of the letter, everything.
Nope, whenever you get the letter, that's
Okay.
when the internal process will begin.
Got it.
So
Thank
if
you.
it takes 6 months for them to get it to you,
Mhm.
it won't start for 6 months. That process won't start until you get accreditation.
Excellent. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, and then of course, if you don't get accreditation, which we don't really want to talk about that, that's a whole different issue to deal with. But it's intended that all of these eyes are on it so that that will not happen and we can bounce immediately to the internal review process. So I will say programs have gone through the internal review process as intended. We've not had any not get accredited. So. And we'll keep it that way, please. But it needs to go through all of those stages. So you'll need to plan accordingly for that. Any other questions, either abbreviated or full review, or internal? Okay, if there are any questions at any point, we are all here. Oh, is there somebody I can't see? Sorry.
There's a question about CGE programs. Dr. Brady has a CGE program at the graduate level. And
Oh.
just making sure that, because the CGE information on the website only talks about undergraduate.
Ah, okay. So let me open that up. Sorry, I didn't know we had a CGE program here. So let me go ahead and jump to the CGE program. Okay, so if you are a CGE program, oops, let me go back to share screen again. So if you are a CGE program, you will also follow the internal review process. This is every 5 years. The 5th year will begin after the effective date of when the chancellor's office was offered or when the program was was in the catalog or program was in the catalog, whichever's later. So that's when your 5-year clock will begin. The individual coordinating the degree will serve as the lead program review person, the coordinator for that, or they can designate another faculty member who's teaching in the program to serve as the lead. Either one is perfectly fine. They can delegate work as needed with those who are associated within the program. And then they follow the same program review guidelines as the other programs. For these, we'll need to talk about your site review teams, because there are not, you'd still need to have somebody who's external to the discipline or internal to the discipline, but external to the university. So that will remain the same, but we will want to work with you on that one to make sure that it's somebody who understands state support programs or self-support programs or those kinds of things. Your self-support programs also may have some additional steps and stages to it. So for example, we have a BA in social science that's only in our local prisons. And so that program will need to have site visits to the prisons to look at their facilities and those kinds of things. So when we come to the self-support programs, the process will be the same, but there might be some additional things that need to be done because it's self-support and because it might be offered in different locales. But other than that, it will go through the same exact process. It will still have the external review team. It will still be a visit to campus. It will still be looking at your facilities, still meeting with students and alumni. All of that will stay the same. All of the forms and templates will stay the same and those kinds of things. It's just there may be a few extra components to it, particularly if it's taught off-site. The site review team may need to see and look at those. It will then also go to the undergraduate review committee or the graduate review committee, and then we'll do the close of cycle that way. So just a few differences, not a lot, but it will follow the internal review process.
Okay, and thank you, that helps.
Yeah.
If I have questions about, like for example, if I want to delegate work to faculty, but there's CG&E, like how would I compensate them because they don't have like service built into their schedule? I just talked to CG&E about that. Like if
Yeah, that's a
about that.
CGE
Okay,
issue.
okay.
Yeah, I can't help you with that.
And then like the other kind of thing that seems to drop the ball is like our college assessment coordinator doesn't ask for like our annual SOAP or like yearly assessment report because it's through CG&E. So is CG&E supposed to be giving us guidance on that, and should I talk to them?
Yeah, let me talk to Dr. Fraley about that because that might need to go to Dr. Fraley.
Okay.
And it's CSM, and what's the degree?
Water resource management.
Okay. Okay,
And Bernadette, when you get a response from Dr. Fraley, let me know and if I add something to the
Okay.
website that will prevent our question,
yeah,
get it answered for everybody. Thank you.
for everybody. Yeah, no problem. Anything else? Okay, we are here for you the entire way through this. There is no question that's too small. There's certainly no question that if you have a question, it should be asked. Let me put it that way. So please do that. If it's, multiple times, if you need to have a meeting with us, whatever it is, please do that. There is a lot of work that goes into program review, but I tell individuals all the time that it's really an opportunity for you to look back and to be proud of what you've done. And then it's an opportunity to dream for where you want to be in the next 5 years. So, look at it through those lens. And then as well, that it's just so important to our overall integrity of our degrees, providing excellent degrees for our students and our overall accreditation. So, all right, with that, I'll stay on for a little bit if anybody wants to ask something outside of everybody else, but other than that, I wish you a great day and good luck with your program review, and we're here for you. So take care.
I have questions. This is Stephanie from Interior Design.
Sure.
So, I guess, we had, I'm sure you know about that, but the CETA accreditation and
Yeah.
all, how that all, went down. But
Yeah.
honestly, I had no idea about this until I was on the undergraduate program review committee. So interestingly, things, I mean, certainly would have been different, I think. But, besides that, I guess we're still, I've been doing the assessment. I did the SOAPs. I did all those things. And then, now the 5-year plan comes out of this process, right?
Correct.
So, okay. So I know one of us in our team is working on the 5-year plan. We met about it last week, but we haven't done this process yet. So maybe it's cart before the horse, or is that?
So that's a good question. You went through that review process. Seems to me you should go through an internal review process.
For just our program?
Yeah.
Yeah. And,
Yeah, so
yeah.
you should you should start your 5-year now. And do, your self-study that you follow the template for because you're not gonna do accreditation anymore. Your internal
Right.
program. Yeah. So just follow the internal review process and do that. Even though they came to campus a couple years ago, I would say start that process now, because otherwise you're so much further out from doing that. So
Yeah.
let's get you on a regular 5-year schedule again and go through an internal review process.
Right. Okay. So then but we still would have gone through an external review process in the past, but I haven't ever seen an external review report or anything for.
It won't matter.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It won't matter because what you had to do for that is going to be completely different from what you have to do for your internal one.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So we were planning on doing the internal review anyway. So
Yeah.
that's why I'm here.
Here, thank you.
Yeah. And so try to get ahead of it. So we just need to decide who's,
Gonna coordinate
doing.
it.
Yeah. All right.
So I just want to confirm, Stephanie, you said your interior design is not accredited currently.
Correct.
So you'd be doing, yeah, okay. I need to change it on my form. I want to make sure I didn't misunderstand something.
No.
Yeah, and our department just is getting ready for the NASAD, the North American Schools and Colleges of Art and Design. They're doing that. And so that's at the department level, and they'll be looking at all of the programs under art and design. And so we've been putting, all of that information together. I know Martine Valencia is kind of in charge of that. So that's a good, I think, he's got history and he knows kind of what goes into that, and he's keeping all of us in line. He has a way of getting all the information out of everyone.
You know what?
But-
That's what you want.
Mhm.
Better that than not getting what you need.
Right. Yeah. So anyway, okay. So that's great. But that won't have anything to do with what we're doing for this. We'll just move forward. And on the list, it says academic program review, it says 25, 26. And that's right now, even though our external review team wouldn't be coming until fall 26. And so it wouldn't even finish until 27, right?
That's the way they all are. So it starts with this orientation now, then you work on your self-study, then those goes to the dean and all of those kinds of things. You get your nomination form in, and then they won't be here till next year. So the internal review process is really like a 2-year process. This first year's planning, writing the report. Internally, we all review it, and then next year it goes to the site review team. And then we go through like internal responses, then it goes to the university level committee, and then we close it out. So it's
And
really a
then-
2-year process.
Okay. And then does the internal or the external review team look at all of the curriculum for the whole program, like all of the syllabi and all of the student work, similar to? mean-
It doesn't need to be all of it. It's just a matter of, showing them a sample, like a broad sample. So I wouldn't say like pick one class and show them a few assignments or things like that. I'd say pick a few from, like lower division classes, pick a few from upper division classes. If you have any options, pick a few from that. They can always ask for more. So if they feel that you didn't provide enough, they can always ask for more documentation. That's fine.
Okay.
And you'll be given
That's-
additional time to provide it. So it's not like it was when WASC was here, like once they left, they were done. They don't want any supporting documentation after they left. So we had to
Okay.
provide it while they were here, and that's it. That's not the case with these. You can submit, because they're only internal, so we can sort of make our own rules with those.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
so,
good to know.
Yeah.
Thank you. I think
Yeah.
that's all of my questions when again was the nominations for the external review? When is that? The sooner the better, but when is that?
Sooner than later, but it's April.
April. Perfect.
Yeah.
All right.
But
Thank you.
we want to ask them before people go off contract, because we want them here in the fall semester. So if you give it to us in late April and somebody doesn't answer for a couple weeks, or then, it's May and they say, oh, I can't, and then you've got to start over and ask another person, and now they've gone on off contract, and they're not going to respond until August, and it just slows the process. So the earlier you know who you want to bring in and we can lock them down as committed, the better.
And so again, the external review is in the external review visiting team is in
Fall
26.
26.
Fall
Fall
26.
2026, yeah.
Right. Okay, I've got that. So, and that schedule is determined by whatever their availability is during
Correct.
fall.
Yep.
Okay.
Yes.
I just want to make sure that the external person has and you're saying to have that person be an interior design
Yes.
person from
Yes.
another CSU?
Yes.
Okay.
That's preferable, just because they know the CSU. You
Yeah.
can have someone come in from a private university like, oh, do this, do that. It's like, we can't do that.
Okay.
So it just helps if it's someone who understands the CSU.
Okay. That's important. And then
Yeah.
is there anybody we talked to about recommendations for the College of Arts and Humanities, but not our department, and then the outside of College of Arts and Humanities, but within this Fresno State? So the other two people, is there recommendations, or do we
Yeah, you
want
can
somebody
talk-
that's done it before, or?
No, you don't necessarily need to. You may want to, so you may, if you're somebody who's like adjacent to your major, somebody who would know about it, those kinds of things, but are external, then you should do that. So again, like the examples I gave, for criminology, we might pick somebody in political science because it's government organizations. They would understand about, state or local budgets that are things that criminology students working in a criminal justice system would know. They'd know about, like the court system and government system. So they would have a sense of some of the structural kinds of things that we would need in criminology. We easily could pick somebody also who would be in one of our ethnic studies majors, because there's so many issues that come up with criminology that are, ethnic oriented and those kinds of things. So, we would probably want to pick somebody who's knows about it, adjacent to it, but not within our major. And then, like I gave the example of social work, and again, that's outside of the college. But again, social workers work very closely with individuals within the criminal justice system. And so they would also likely have some knowledge of the challenges of teaching students that information. They would know about working within the system, those kinds of things. So if that's possible, you can do that. Sorry, Elizabeth, go ahead.
No, that's okay. I was gonna say, in a practical, I think that's great advice to think about in an ideal sense. In a practical sense, sometimes it comes down to someone that that has good information, gives good advice, and who you can ask a favor from. So sometimes, right? I always encourage the departments to do the strategic planning and thinking, but to have a backup as being sort of who's knowledgeable and has good information and is generally well trusted and regarded, but who might be willing to do a favor. Because sometimes it comes down to that.
Yeah, absolutely. And your dean's office also can provide some assistance with that.
Okay. Yeah, I'm sure that our chair will have, ideas about that too. I mean, of course, I think about construction and I think about architecture, those areas as far as adjacent, but sometimes they don't know what we do. Like they're getting to know us better, but they didn't always know what we've done. I think up until recently, they thought we were decorators still, but anyway, okay, perfect. Thank you so much for your time and for your additional input. And Elizabeth, thank you too for that. Appreciate it. And I think that's it.
All right, we're here for you.
Thanks.
Okay.
Bye.
Yep. Rohit, you had a question.
Yes, which I almost forgot. So a different challenge. Thank you for all the information. I'm all set on task. However, I'm going on sabbatical next semester, and my program review cycle is 25-26. So most of the work, it seems like for self-study, it falls in spring when I'm on sabbatical.
It's okay. Just
now-
delegate it to somebody else.
Oh, geez. So my program is a fully online program, right? And we have 2 courses that are offered in a semester. So the active faculty members are 2 or 3 people at a given time, right? And the other faculty member who's a core program faculty member who knows everything about the program is on sabbatical this semester, right? And I'm taking up all the load for her. And when she's back, she'll take the load from me. But that puts a lot of work on her. I want to do as much program self-study as possible before I go to sabbatical. But so that's the only way you think, like, you can just hand off and share work that way. Okay.
No, that's fine.
Okay.
I mean, you can work on it for sabbatical if you want. It's just, I wouldn't suggest that because you're on sabbatical for a totally separate reason, but you could work on it whenever you want. That's on you, Elizabeth, sorry.
Yeah, no, it's also not uncommon. What you're describing is not entirely uncommon either, right? And that's often why departments choose a team rather than an individual. And so I think you're just by default in a team.
Right, our just team is very small, and
Yeah.
also, and that leads me to my second question. So I took over this program like a year and a half ago, and the person before me gave all the information that he had, and he left, right? He's in a different university now, but the person before him kind of had a lot of gaps to fill out and don't reply to emails anymore and has retired. So I can go as far back as maybe 4 years. is that gonna be a problem? I've done all the work to catch up, right? All the SOAPs are revised, all the program assignments are in line. I'm working right now to refine and revise the syllabus, and everything will be aligned with the new PLOs as well. So everything is on task. Only thing is that we have a very short-term memory.
And Bernadette, you have more experience here than I do, but thinking, I mean, 4 years is pretty close to a full in-between program review cycle. Which, so, right, you're right, you're sort of right around that same viewpoint where you'd, that would be the only data you'd be reviewing anyway. Right, you'd be reviewing typically 5 years of data rather than 4. So I think there's some squishiness that's allowed there. That would be my, and I think, right, that seems like it could be something, leadership turnover could be something that you talk about in your program review and the challenges and how you're addressing that.
Right. I mean, yeah. So the bottom line is transparency, right?
Yep.
You give the full picture of whatever is happening, and yeah, I mean, one of the things that I'm doing to make sure that doesn't happen again is that everything has been documented. There's a Google Drive, right? I just have to hand it over to the next person, and I have notes, and I have so okay.
Yep.
Okay, that's very helpful. I kind of knew that that's what you would recommend, but it's good to hear from you all, like officially, you know. So thank you for your time, and thank you for all of this input, and you know, yeah, it's all the extra work for you all.
Good
Thank you
luck.
for the good questions.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right, have a good day.
All right, take care. Oh,
Bye.
Bye-bye.
take care, bye. Okay, we're good?
We're done?
Okay.
Okay, bye.